Parfois, je me demande si le silence entre les étoiles est vraiment vide. Peut-être qu'il y a quelque chose là, mais on ne sait juste pas comment l'entendre. Ce qu'on appelle le silence, c'est peut-être un langage trop vaste, trop ancien, pour qu'on puisse le comprendre. Dans cet espace immense, chaque particule, chaque onde, chaque lumière pourrait porter un message. Mais on n'a pas encore appris à écouter autrement que comme on en a l'habitude. On a souvent construit nos idées sur le fait qu'on est seul, un peu comme une exception qui pense dans un univers silencieux. Ça a influencé nos histoires, nos peurs et notre envie de comprendre. Mais si en fait, cette solitude était juste une impression? Peut-être qu'on ne voit pas la vraie nature du cosmos parce qu'on ne sait pas encore comment regarder. Ce silence, est-ce vraiment un vide? Ou alors, est-ce une présence tellement grande qu'on ne la remarque même pas? Peut-être qu'il y a plein de formes de vie, de conscience ou d'intelligence qu'on ne peut même pas imaginer. Le silence, c'est peut-être une invitation, un espace pour apprendre à écouter autrement. J'aime imaginer que l'univers n'est pas vide, mais plutôt comme une grande salle où quelque chose se passe depuis très longtemps. Et nous, on vient juste d'entrer, un peu maladroitement, sans vraiment comprendre ce qui se joue autour de nous. On est nouveau ici, et on ne parle pas encore la langue. On cherche des signes qui nous ressemblent, mais si la vraie musique de l'univers était faite de silence, peut-être que ce sont les pauses, les respirations, les attentes qui comptent. On écoute avec nos machines, mais on oublie parfois d'écouter avec notre imagination. Je me dis parfois que notre plus grande erreur, c'est de croire que le calme veut dire absence. Peut-être que c'est juste une forme de présence qu'on ne comprend pas encore. On projette beaucoup d'espoir sur chaque planète lointaine, comme si on cherchait un miroir. Mais peut-être que l'univers a autre chose à nous montrer, si on accepte de regarder autrement. L'univers n'a pas besoin de nous répondre. Peut-être que la plus grande conversation se passe dans un murmure si lent qu'on ne le remarque même pas. Parfois, je me surprends à juste écouter le silence, à essayer d'y trouver quelque chose. Peut-être que dans ce vide, il y a déjà tout ce qu'on cherche, même si on ne sait pas encore comment l'entendre. If you look far beyond the asteroid belt, you'll find a small white moon quietly circling Jupiter. That's Europa. At first glance, it just floats there, calm and still, in the middle of space. But if you look a little closer, you start to realize there's a lot more going on beneath that peaceful surface. Europa's surface is covered in reddish lines and marks. It's not just a frozen wasteland. These scars are signs that something is happening underneath. The long winding cracks show that the ice is being pulled and pushed, shaped by forces we're still trying to understand. These patterns aren't random. They almost look like writing, or maybe a map. Scientists have been studying them for years, and it seems like Europa's surface is always shifting, moved by something deep below. Under all that ice, there's a huge ocean, maybe even bigger than all the oceans on Earth put together. It's been hidden away from sunlight for billions of years. Sometimes I wonder what it would feel like to stand there, knowing there's so much water just out of reach, sealed away by ice. Europa is strange. The surface is cold and empty, but deep down, it's probably full of movement and energy. Warm currents might rise up from below, slowly changing the ice above. It's a quiet kind of activity, but it never really stops. Everything is silent out there, except for the occasional whisper of particles from Jupiter. It's a heavy kind of quiet, almost like Europa is waiting for something. Sometimes, I think about how much we still don't know. Europa isn't just a name. It's a real place, with its own mysteries. It sits alone in the darkness, wrapped in ice. That makes it feel even more special, like a hidden gem in Jupiter's shadow. There's an ocean down there, and maybe something unusual we haven't found yet. Europa feels both familiar and completely new. It makes me wonder what else is possible in our universe. Maybe, somewhere under all that ice, life has found a way to survive. It's strange to think about. Creatures living in the dark, never seeing the sun, warmed only by the heat from below. I can't help but hope we'll find out someday. Europa makes me rethink what's possible. Even in the coldest, most distant places, nature finds ways to surprise us. There's still so much to learn, and that's what makes exploring so exciting. When I think about Europa, I can't help but wonder about its ocean. Hidden under ice for billions of years, quietly separated from the rest of the solar system. It's strange to imagine a sea that's been waiting there, unchanged through all that time. That ocean was there long before dinosaurs, or even the first humans. While continents moved and life on Earth kept changing, Europa's ocean just kept going, hidden in the cold shadow of Jupiter. Compared to that, everything we do, our cities, our history, even our dreams, feels like it happens in the blink of an eye. Our lives are so quick, but this ocean moves at its own slow pace. If life ever started there, it's had all the time in the world to change and adapt, slowly, in the dark, and under pressure. Maybe there are creatures down there, living in ways we can't really picture, not needing light or even noticing the passing of time. We rush through life, always busy, but maybe on Europa, life is patient, almost invisible to us. It might survive on just a little warmth from deep below, far away from any noise or hurry. Sometimes, I wonder if it's right there, just too slow for us to notice. Maybe its rhythms are so different, we just don't see them, like a clock that ticks at a pace we can't follow. Thinking about this makes me feel small. Not just in space, but in time too. We're just passing through, while Europa's ocean keeps its quiet watch. It's kind of humbling. That ocean has seen so much, and it doesn't really care about our stories. It just keeps going, holding on to its secrets. Sometimes I think about what it would be like to stand there, looking out at all that ice and darkness. It's hard to know what we'd find, or if we'd even understand it. Maybe that's okay. Some things last because they're hidden, waiting for someone to notice. Europa's ocean is still there, quiet and patient, and maybe one day we'll finally listen. For a long time, we thought life only existed here on Earth. It felt like something rare, maybe even a bit fragile. But Europa changes that idea. There's a whole ocean of liquid water out there, just beneath the ice. It makes me wonder if our old rules about life still hold up. If life can exist on Europa, maybe it's not so rare after all. Maybe it's just part of how the universe works. That thought doesn't really make us less alone. In a way, it just makes our loneliness feel a bit stranger. If the universe is full of life, but it's all silent and out of reach, it's almost like living in a city where everyone stays behind closed doors. Europa doesn't promise a meeting. It's more like a reminder that some distances might never be crossed. If life isn't unique, maybe consciousness is. I'm not sure. Sometimes I imagine what it would be like if thoughts, slow and shared, were drifting through that dark ocean. They'd be nothing like ours. Europa makes us face something truly different. It's a little unsettling, but also kind of wonderful, not knowing what we might find. When I think about life under the ice, I don't picture anything familiar. Instead, I imagine whole communities built around hydrothermal vents, where warmth and chemicals take the place of sunlight. Here, there's no light at all. Everything is shaped by pressure, temperature, and the slow drift of chemicals in the water. It's quiet, but not empty. Maybe there are tiny signals, molecules moving, almost like a slow conversation that fills the ocean. Sometimes I wonder if there could be a kind of shared awareness here, something that stretches out over thousands of years. We usually listen for radio signals, but maybe the most interesting conversations are happening in the language of molecules. What if awareness here doesn't belong to a single creature, but to the ocean itself? It's hard to imagine how we'd ever communicate with something that thinks on a geological timescale. Looking at Europa's ocean, I sometimes feel like it's a mirror, one that doesn't show us anything back. It makes me realize just how much we still don't know. Sometimes I wonder, if there's life on Europa, maybe it's a kind of awareness that isn't meant for us to find. Even sending a probe could feel like an intrusion. Our light, our presence, breaking a balance that's been there for billions of years. We'd be bringing something from the outside into a world that's always been closed off. In trying to learn, we might end up changing what we wanted to understand. Maybe some mysteries only exist as long as they stay hidden. Our search for answers could easily become a kind of disturbance, even if we don't mean it that way. It reminds me of when I was a kid trying to hold a snowflake. Just touching it made it disappear. There's something beautiful about Europa's untouched mystery. Maybe the wisest thing we could do is to simply let it be. I'm not sure, but sometimes leaving a secret alone feels like the right choice. When we look for life somewhere else, maybe we're hoping to find a reflection of ourselves. But Europa, with its dark ocean, doesn't really give us that. It's more like a blank mirror. There's nothing looking back. When I think about life that could be so different from ours, it makes me realize how random our own existence might be. The way we see the world, through our eyes, as individuals, is just one way to be conscious. Maybe it's not even the only way, or the best. Facing how small we are can be unsettling. It kind of takes the wind out of our pride. Sometimes I wonder, if a living thing could exist without ever asking why, does our search for meaning really matter? Europa's ocean kind of brings out that feeling in me, the need to find meaning, even when there might not be any. It reminds me that the universe just is. It doesn't really care about what we want or need. Maybe that's not coldness, or a lack of love. Maybe it just means there's no mirror out there, only what we bring with us. Picture a probe landing on Europa, slowly drilling through the ice. It finds something unexpected, a shape, a pattern that seems too precise to be natural. It's not a message, exactly. More like a thought, frozen in place. And honestly, we might not even be able to understand it. If this ever happened, it would probably be the most important discovery we've ever made. But it would also be incredibly quiet. There wouldn't be any conversation. Just us, looking at something completely foreign. We could study it for years and still not know what it means. Maybe it doesn't mean anything to us at all. That kind of silence would be hard to accept. It would be proof that something else is out there, but we might never find a way in. I think that would feel pretty lonely, not because we're alone, but because we just can't connect. We'd be looking at a thought that can't reach us, no matter how hard we try. Sometimes I wonder if the universe is full of these little islands of awareness, each drifting in its own sea of experience. Maybe the real mystery isn't the emptiness, but the quiet space between two thoughts that can never quite meet. For years, we've listened to the sky, hoping to hear something back. I sometimes wonder if we're just talking to ourselves out here. The universe isn't really a puzzle made just for us. It's more like a collection of stories, all happening at once, most of them not about us at all. Maybe Europa's ocean has its own story, and we're just curious bystanders. We're not really the main characters out here. Sometimes, it feels like we're just reading a page in a book written in a language we barely understand. It's a strange feeling, wondering if the truth was never meant for us to find. Science gives us facts and numbers, but sometimes it doesn't give us the answers we're really looking for. Maybe what matters most about Europa isn't what's hidden beneath the ice, but what it shows us about how much we still don't know. I find that both humbling and oddly comforting. Sometimes, just looking up at the night sky reminds me how much wonder there is in not having all the answers. Maybe the real gift is learning to live with the questions.